Welcome back, everyone. Good to have you back. Good to be back. I just really looking forward to getting back on here, but there's a couple things we have to address before we really start all the sports and beer. Some things that are maybe more important than those type of things going on right now. Sean, do you want to start us off right there?
Yeah, obviously, there's a lot going on in I wanted to say in the nation, but really in the world, because a lot of people have kind of stepped up, to address an issue, and the Black Lives Matter movement. Uh, I think it's important for us to address it and talk about it, and you know, I guess spread a little bit more awareness, because I think you and I are both on the same page that it's a movement that needs to happen. Sadly, like I wish it didn't have to happen. I
Right.
kind of wish that, yeah, everybody's life matters. So,
And it's
we
it's
shouldn't
kind
even
of
be talking about this. We shouldn't have to talk about this, but unfortunately, in today's world, we do, because obviously the issues we've seen, most recently with George Floyd. Uh, so, I think it's just important for us to talk about the importance, and once again, that everybody matters. We should all start out in this world with, you know, equal opportunity, I want to say. Unfortunately, not all of us do start out with equal opportunity. Some of us are kind of, we start off on just a worse foot than other people.
right.
Some people are just more fortunate, but everybody's life is equal.
Hmm.
You shouldn't have to drive down the street and get immediately nervous when you see a cop car or, whatever it may be. So, I mean, you know, with freedom comes crime, and that's one thing. But when you're talking about people that should be protecting us, we should all feel safe. It should be, you should see a law enforcement officer and feel safe,
Right.
not
Not afraid.
not afraid that if you look at him the wrong way, him or her, you know, they come over, they start talking to you, and then all of a sudden your life is in danger.
Right.
So,
And I think part of the reason that we're seeing so much conflict and so much argument about this whole topic is that everyone who is trying to learn about it and trying to argue about it and stuff just wants to believe that the answers are black and white and you have to pick with this side or that side. But the truth is that it's somewhere in the middle. It's gray, and there's a little bit of truth on this side and a little bit on this side. And the guys on this side might have so much details and stuff by as to why they are so feel so strongly about it, but so the people so far to this side. But I would think, why can't we love both sides, you know? There's nothing stopping you from saying that I can't be on both sides, because I do believe that it's important to have a police officer in your neighborhood that you do trust and who can protect you and everything like that that goes with being a police officer. But like you said, when you see him, you don't want to have the thought process of being afraid of what he might say or do to you.
yeah, exactly.
There's just so many layers and uh, different things, areas to talk about in this whole topic.
And then, I think that, I mean, I do think we've come a long way, and I think it is hard for the good officers, which I do believe are the majority. I do believe the majority of officers are good people and they just want to protect and serve. I think some of them are caught in a situation where it's, where they feel that they have to protect themselves, not that they have to, and they make maybe a bad judgment call. And then there are others where they're just, they just have a certain outlook on others.
Hmm. Yeah, and it's unfortunate because um, there are so many, and I agree with you in saying that maybe I think 90 or 95%, or possibly even more than that, are all fantastic police officers. They do their job, and they always make sure that they're holding correct moral values and everything of that nature. But all it takes, sadly, is just one
Yeah,
who's not good to set
right.
something like this off.
Exactly. And, I think the other message is that it's not just officers. Now, the officers are the ones that get the most attention because, well, unfortunately, they have taken lives, and more
We're
often than
seeing
not,
videos of these things. Like these things have been going on for so long, but now we have
right,
camera phones and
right,
everything's being recorded.
yeah, yeah, and it's good that it's being recorded because it's being brought to light. I think it's important, and most people do not want to address something that's difficult or something that changes the way that they have to live. But if it's helping my fellow brethren live a better life and just feel comfortable in their own skin, then I think that's something that's worth fighting for.
Agreed.
So I do believe that it's very difficult for us to understand being the minority for an entire lifetime, or feeling like you're the minority
Hmm.
and being treated like that. But whatever it is that we can do to help, I do believe we should be doing it. So
Exactly. And people may be wondering, like, what can I do to help besides just spreading awareness and sharing things on social media and things of that nature? Well, there's so many other ways to help that may just slip your mind or you haven't thought about, such as like, there are you have to become educated on what's going on in your town because that's where you can make the difference. Like I can make a difference, you can make a difference, particularly here we live in Marlton and we can make a difference in our town. And if we all make a difference in our small town, then we can make a big difference across the country and in the world. But you have to do your part and I have to do my part.
absolutely, I
So
think
that includes in doing research when the elections come around on who you like as a candidate and not just
that's very important because I think a lot of people, I don't think a lot of people do the appropriate amount of research when it comes to electing
right.
the next person to run the country.
Yes.
So,
And it's one thing to go and just say like, I don't really know like who is the good senator or who is like I want for congressman, and just say, I'm a Republican or I'm a Democrat and that's who I'm going to vote for. But you may not stand with any of their views. They're just a Republican and so are you, so you're going to vote for them, and that's
right,
not the right way to go about it either.
it's not. Yeah, so I just think, like you said, one of the biggest things you can do is educate yourself. Another thing you could do is, I do believe that small steps can lead to something bigger. So as we see these things start to come to light, and there are obviously people that are very passionate about it. And like I said, someone like you or I, we can't necessarily feel what they're feeling, but what you can do is stick up for them, even in small matters. Even if you're at work and somebody makes a very inappropriate joke, you could step up and you could be that person that says, cut that out. There are real things happening here. There are real people's lives are we are trying to change them for the better.
Right. And that in the moment, that may seem like a very uncomfortable thing to do to tell that person,
Yeah,
but it's something that we're trying to change. And it's very hard to change something like that that's been going on for so long. And he has a certain mindset that in his mind, that's completely okay. So he might look at you funny at first. But that's a necessary step and a necessary part of this whole process that has to be done.
I just think it takes the people that believe in this movement. I think it just takes a little bit of guts. You got to stand up. You got to take some action, even if it's something small. That's great. I think there's not a lot of people. I shouldn't say a lot because a lot of people have stepped up, but not everybody wants to go out and march and protest and do those things. So if they can do something that's a little bit different, that's maybe on their own, maybe educate somebody else and try to change even one person's point of view on this situation, I think we'll be better off.
Right. I believe so too. And I think the biggest thing above all that we can all do right now is just spreading love, between your friends and family, if they're on your side or if they agree with what you say or not. Just spreading love and trying to educate your friends and family on the same level that you might be on, and also educating yourself is important too. But even if you get in a slight argument with one of your friends or family and they don't quite agree with you, don't just cut them off, because then that puts you almost on the same level as them. It's more important to just spread love and let them know that you still love them.
Amen to that. Amen to that. So, to cap this, I don't even want to call it a segment. It's not a segment, but more of just kind of, I guess, outreach, and just hoping that somebody listens to this and maybe they decide to at least do some research on the matter.
Yes.
I just think, be positive, try to walk in other people's shoes, and that'll go a long way. So
I believe so too, and hopefully we will see a change sooner rather than later. But this is just one step, a very small step in maybe 1,000-step process or longer than that. But at least we did something. We went from step 0 to step 1, and that's important.
absolutely.
So I don't want to dwell on this topic for too long, because there are other things going on besides this right now, and it is a very serious topic, and we will continue to discuss it on each of the next episodes as the topic progresses, because I do want to keep covering. I think it's very important. And we have some teams coming back, some leagues coming back, which is very exciting. The NBA, the NHL, the NFL has already said, we're planning to do everything almost normally, which is kind of scary. And unfortunately, the MLB hasn't really gotten their stuff together yet. Kind of running out of time.
I think the MLB is just, I think that's just going to be it for them. I think this is going to be a season that's just a wash. I think the teams are just not the teams, but the players and the owners are so far apart in terms of what they want that, it's going to be impossible to come to an agreement. I could be wrong, but the way that things are going and the things we're hearing, I don't see it happening, especially this far out, into what their season would have been. I just think at this point, it's a wash, and we'll have to get excited for next season.
Yes, I think so too. And
I am very excited for the NBA. I got to tell you, I
am as well.
They just made leaps and bounds, in the recent days, and they have this. Wait, they kind of followed your plan just a little bit with the playing games, right?
A little bit, but they're really trying to make it as important as possible to give the teams that are not in the playoffs right now a fair chance to get in, because they did have about, I think it was not 20 games left in the regular season, so those bottom standings could have mixed up a little bit more, and they want to at least play that out a little bit more instead of just throwing the whole thing out.
Yeah, and if they're going to go with 11 games to finish out the season, that's just not enough. I mean, it is enough time for some teams to catch up, but, it's difficult because the 9 seed wins a game and the 8 seed wins a game. Well, that's just a wash. So
right.
I do like, if they're within 4 games, you let them play kind of a playing game to get into the playoffs. I think that's exciting. I do think it's a move to try to get Zion in there in his first season, but it'll be cool either way. I'm just so excited that they're back and the players are on board, and it seems like the owners and the league they're all kind of together, and it's nice to see a league that's doing that. Similar to the NHL, I am just so excited to watch the sport again.
To have some dates again, like some hard dates that, like, this is when we're going to start, this is when the finals are going to be, everything like that. And it's interesting. They're definitely pushing it back enough to give those players that might not have had access to a gym or might not have been as motivated during this time to get back in shape.
Right, because as we said last time, there were some players that don't have a court, they haven't been shooting at all, even if they've been working out, they have not been working on the shot. So it does give some players some time to kind of get back into the swing of things and start working out again and start shooting again. And I'm really hoping that the players' shots aren't too messed up. I just think about the players that maybe have a gym but weren't able to shoot. They say if you work out and you're lifting and you're bulking, if you're not working on your shot at the same time, you might lose it a little bit. So
Right. That's
I would worry about a guy like Giannis, his shot progression. I'd be worried about him. I'd be worried about Ben Simmons' shot progression as well, because those were two players that were starting to kind of at least get a better feel for their 3-point range. But if they haven't been able to work on it, they could lose it in a
right.
snap.
And those players' jump shots were kind of essential to their team, maybe eliminating some of the other tougher teams in the playoffs. We saw what the Raptors did to the Bucks last year because Giannis lacked the jump shot. And we know what Ben Simmons hasn't been able to provide for the Sixers. All the good things that he does on the floor is amazing, but all the things that he's lacking, and you could just put a big on him and have him stand 10 feet away, that's just not going to be good enough to win the NBA Finals.
Absolutely. And the NHL coming back, I'm very excited for what they're doing as well. I'm very excited. And we're fortunate, too, as a fan base to have, in both of the leagues that are coming back, we have teams that are going to be in the playoffs.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm
I think the
really
Flyers
excited about my Sixers.
There you go. I
Had
like
that
it.
Mayor custom-made hat. I don't even.
That's pretty sick, actually.
Been sitting there for a while. Yeah, it's painted. I think I was walking around in Philly one day, and this guy was like selling hats, on the street corner, and it was any of the Philly teams, he would do a hat for you, but all his hats are different. So he does them right there in front of you himself, and
That's really cool.
looking.
You should have took a video of that. That's really nice.
Super cool looking, right?
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. You gotta put that on, man, because we're getting ready.
I'm really excited.
Yeah.
But I'm really also kind of afraid because we know what kind of situation the Sixers were in at the time. It's just not feeling.
I'm going to be 100% honest. I'm not very optimistic about their chances to make the finals to even make the finals or even the Eastern Conference Finals. But I'm excited to see Ben Simmons. He should be coming back. I'm pretty sure he's 100%. And then Joel Embiid. I'm just excited to kind of see what they do here, in the playoffs. I just want to see them working together again. I'm just excited to watch the team play and know that they're making a playoff push.
I'd be very interested to see how this whole bubble idea is going to work, because say you have a bubble of these 22 teams and they stay in a hotel nearby and everything, and maybe you even have chefs and everything there, but is there going to be like security guards trying to keep people from going in and out, and everyone who's in the bubble, not just the players, are going to get tested every day? And what about these coaches who are 60, 70 years old? Are they going to be allowed in the arenas?
Yeah, you know what? I don't know exactly what their plans are going to be, but I would have to think that if they committed to a plan like this, they have a solid game plan to keep people safe, especially the coaches, because you're right. Some of the coaches are 60, 70 years old. How old is Greg Popovich? He's got to be
70 plus.
Right. So you got to think about those coaches and their health. I would think that they have a legitimate plan in place that they believe is going to be good to go. So I trust the NBA. Like, if a league is going to decide to come back, I would trust that they have a very good plan to come back. Because as we said previously on a prior episode, if they come back and it doesn't work out, like somebody gets COVID again, it looks really bad on them.
It could be a disaster.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's kind of what kicked this whole thing off, this whole quarantine thing. Like, if you remember, it was like Rudy Gobert had it, the NBA shut down, and then all of a sudden, like, everybody gets it. And now we're all shutting down. So it would be, I think, a disaster for the league if they had another player get the coronavirus.
But like you said, I'm really excited for both the NHL and the NBA to come back, because the Flyers were on a roll. Like, I am more confident about the Flyers and their streak towards the playoffs than I was about the Sixers. I was kind of, my stock on the Sixers was falling, while my stock on the Flyers was going up exponentially. Yeah. I really think they have a serious shot to make it to the finals. And then, when you get there, anything can happen.
I think they have a serious shot as well. I was very excited. The only thing that I am not happy about is that they were on a roll before this, and my worry is that they've cooled down since then. They had a ton of momentum going, and this thing just cut it off. So, I'm very interested to see how they come back and play. Was their run legitimate? Like, are they just that good, or was it just they had some momentum, they were rolling in the right direction, and they were going to tumble eventually? So,
Yeah,
I'm
that'll
happy
be
that they're
very
the four
interesting.
seed. I'm kind of happy that they didn't come in like super high or super low. They're in the four seed, which is a good spot for them to come in at in the playoffs. And I am more optimistic about them than the Sixers, but I'm really interested to see how they do, how they fare. Like even if they don't make the finals, but they play really well, I'd be happy about that because that
Right.
makes me feel better about them going into next season and season following.
Yeah, I really hope they can keep carry that momentum because, like you said, the momentum is so powerful, and that momentum can carry you right all the way into the finals because of the camaraderie and the chemistry that you guys built up, and you can ride that rather than trying to build something on the fly is 10 times harder than it actually sounds, especially in a league like the NHL.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with you. And then after this comes the NFL, so I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, I cannot wait for the NFL to start back up again. It'll be really curious to see how they handle this whole COVID situation because we know how much money they make off ticket sales and everything. And some of the stadiums and teams have already said, we don't care. We're going to have all the fans back just like normal. The Dolphins have said, we're planning to go about normal. What are you talking about? We're going to have all our fans back. It's not going to be a problem.
I think if one team cannot have fans, then I think it should be every team is going to have to be without fans. Just for this, I mean, you're taking away a home field advantage practically by not allowing fans to come in. So if five teams are going in and they're not allowed to have fans, but the rest of the league is, think about how unfair that is
Right.
to the teams that aren't allowed to have fans. Plus, that is just outright dangerous. I mean, you think about teams like, in the NBA, I believe the Orlando Magic have a chance at making the playoffs. So, they're a team that is in Florida, and Florida's pretty open about trying to open back up fully and just kind of
Mhm.
be in the, um, be normal again.
Right.
But I just can't see letting thousands of people sit within inches of each other.
Yeah.
They say the distance is 6 feet. These people are literally within 5 inches of each other
Right.
when you're sitting in those stands. So, and I mean, everybody's screaming, clapping. You got people buying food, concessions, touching everything. Think about the amount of things you touch when you go inside of a stadium. I mean, that would be, because I really think that if certain teams, if not all teams, let fans in, it would definitely,
Right. Because
definitely have a
if I
huge.
go
They would
to
have a huge setback in terms of the effect of coronavirus, and I feel we just have a giant breakout again.
for sure, and it's going to look really bad on the NFL's part. But think about, you know, if you go to an NFL game, you might only go to one, two, maybe three a year at the most, for the average NFL fan. But when you go to the NFL game, like you're getting your tailgate on in the parking lot, you go into the game, you got to get your beer, you got to get your pizza, whatever kind of food you want. And you can't just have one beer. So you're going back for another one. And then you got to worry about the concession worker also, how they're touching the food, how cleanly are they being. And then
Right.
you're also probably hitting the bathroom 3 or 4 times during the game because you've already drank 2 beers. So,
No,
like you
I
said,
agree.
how many things, how many places are you going to go and touch? And I think it might just be better for them to have no fans or at least 40 or 50% capacity.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna have fans, you're gonna have to space them out. You're gonna have to. But then it comes to, okay, well, how do you space them out? Because what if you have, a family going, a family of four, and then you have just, a couple going? Yeah, how do you space these seats out? Are you going to have sections that only families of four can buy? You
Hmm.
have to buy 4 seats. You can't buy just three. Are you going to have, how are you going to space these seats out to where you're only at 50% capacity and everybody is appropriately spaced out.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
interesting. We'll see what happens. I'm excited for the leagues to be coming back. I'm excited for some live sports again.
I know, me too. I cannot wait to get back to a game where you don't really know how it's going to end. Yeah, as much as I do love watching the replays of old games that I never got to see in person and everything. You can just Google the score. It's much different when you're watching something live and it's your team or not even your team, and you're watching a playoff atmosphere. It's just very different.
What's going to happen?
And last but not least, the one last league that we haven't talked about yet, baseball, the MLB, the window is sort of closing down now to the point where if they don't get something done within possibly the next week or 2 weeks, that they might miss this entire window and not have a season at all, which could be detrimental for the league.
Yeah, and I don't think they're going to get there. As we said just a little earlier, I just think the players and the owners are so far apart. It's difficult to come together after, what we've heard at least. The owners want to play less games because they think the more games they play, the more money they lose. The players want to play more games. They don't want a prorated salary. They want their full salary, rather. I'm sorry. They want their full salary. They want to be paid what they're owed. Especially if they're risking their health and
right,
potentially their family's health.
I would argue for that too.
Right, I agree.
These
Listen,
owners,
you signed a contract, pandemic or not. Those owners have a responsibility to pay you. On the flip side, the owners are businessmen. They have to think about what's best for the business. How do I keep the business alive? Well,
and also they're trying to profit off of this thing the whole time. So
you have to. It's a business. You have to profit. You have to be able to make money. And the biggest cost they have right now are the players, their employees. So, you can't furlough the players, right? So, you're going to ask them to take a pay cut. But again, if they're playing and they're risking their health and their family's health, they're not going to do that. So right. I just think they're so far apart. And don't get me wrong, like we should also point out that their situation is much different than the NBA and NHL, because the NBA and NHL were already in their season. They're not talking about playing a full season,
right?
160 games. Where the MLB, that's kind of what they're talking about. I mean, they're missing out on an entire season. They have to figure something out here. Right. I do think it will be detrimental to the league. I think it will hurt them a lot if there's no baseball for an entire year.
And I also think that they could lose a lot of money if they end up not getting any games in at all. And even if they had some games, but they weren't allowing any fans in, which I don't think will happen if they do have some games, because baseball gets so much revenue from selling tickets, unlike some of these other leagues have huge TV contracts. But I don't think baseball's TV contract, like there's 160 games. Nobody's watching every single game unless you're a very hardcore fan. And some people are, but they play almost every day.
Yeah.
So at some point, like, you might miss a game or two. But they're filling the park almost every night, or at least almost filling the park every night. And that's where a lot of their money comes from.
Yeah, it's not an easy decision to make, or it's not. I could see why it would be difficult for the players and the owners to come together. Like we said, they both have legitimate arguments. They both have legitimate wants and needs. I just think they're so far apart. I don't think it's going to happen this season, and and you also have to think about the players. One of the things that the owners put in their last offer was that players have the option to not play.
Mm-hmm.
So then you have to think about, all right, well, what's the quality of the game going to be?
Yeah.
You have some of the top players sitting out. Like, I believe Bryce Harper would sit out. Mm-hmm. Well, for us as Phillies fans, that's huge.
Yeah.
That is huge. I mean, we still have some decent players that we can go out and watch, but
the
not go out,
fan
I guess.
Experience is now taking a huge hit.
10 times. I mean, it's not even close to the same.
Hmm.
without Bryce Harper in there. So
And like you said, I'm not sure how this whole thing is going to work out, and I don't see it getting done within the next week or two because
I
these
don't know.
guys, they're so far apart on this right now, and they have gigantic egos too that they're not going to take half their salary. I agreed to take this. This is what I'm going to take, which I understand, but it's going to look really bad when the NBA and the NHL are playing during baseball season when baseball is not playing.
I agree. I do agree. Let's
Yeah,
get into these beers.
yeah, I'm really excited. So I got 3 beers tonight. I believe you have 2.
I brought out 3. I
3 beers, awesome.
I'll re up on my beers. I could
Okay.
use them anyway. Long weekend, I'm tired.
Right. You gotta get your beer in.
Yeah.
The first one I'm really excited about is called the Jam Up the Mash Dry Hopped Sour, coming in at 5.2%. That can is pretty cool looking. And
Whoa. Oh,
there's
that is cool.
the name of the beer on the side right there. But yeah, that can is an illusion, right?
Yeah, it is for sure.
So I'm gonna pour this
Curvy.
one in the glass. I'm really excited to get a taste of this one. Again, it's a dry hopped sour, so you can see it's pretty clear, and it looks like your normal sour, not heavy at all. But sometimes the sours, they're just so different and like exotic tasting flavors, and I'm really excited about this one.
They are.
Yeah, exotic flavor for sure. Um, wow, it's pretty good. It's not as smooth as I thought it was going to be. Very citrusy. Definitely one of your more typical sour beers. Um, I've had way too many sour beers, so I guess my opinion might be a little bit more harsh than somebody who hasn't had as many different craft beers as me. But I think this one's going to get a 6.0 from me.
Nice. Okay. That's cool, man. Honesty. That's what we're doing here.
Right.
All right. So I have Kings County Brewers Collective out of Brooklyn, New York. Robot Fish IPA. Simcoe Smash. I have
Mm,
a pretty cool can here. It's a little sweaty.
wow. That is a really cool can.
Yeah, good artwork there. Coming in at a 6.6 ABV. 100% Simcoe hops. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right, single malt. So I'm just gonna get into this.
I
Still
love
haven't
that
got. I
the
haven't got my over under glass yet. I need to get that so I can show
I
people
know,
the
yeah.
color.
We need to hopefully maybe get together soon and possibly do an episode outside or something. I mean, I've gotten together with had some gatherings, and I know that you've maybe had some small gatherings with family and friends as well. So I don't see why we couldn't get together for a couple hours and put together an episode for the people.
I agree. I would definitely be happy to do that. It'd be good to have some actual human contact. Um, this is pretty good. It's, I gotta say though, it's not different. It doesn't have any unique flavor. It's just an IPA. Hoppy, very hoppy. Yeah, hops right from the front end to the back end. Uh, it's a 6.5 for me. Again, it's good. It's tasty. It's an IPA. Most IPA drinkers, if you like an IPA, you'll like this. But nothing different. I don't really taste anything too unique about it. I wouldn't be able to pick this one out of the lineup. So
Mm-hmm.
it's good. It's middle of the road for me. It's just an IPA, but it's good. It's tasty.
Okay. A well done IPA is never fails, right?
That's right.
And I'm just gonna grab a bottle opener real quick. I forgot to bring one up.
Oh man, slacking.
Yeah, major slack. I'm sorry. I apologize to the listeners. Thought I had one here. Just give me 1 second. Turns out this one's a twist off, so I'll still have to get a bottle opener for that one. but this one is a twist off. And I was on my way out of the store today. I said I picked up 2 beers, and
Yeah.
this is the one that I said I wanted to do an extra one because I had one that I was really excited to try. So this is from Shiner, and it's a s'more chocolate and marshmallow ale.
That sounds delicious.
Real Texas chocolate, and there is the glass.
Nice.
Cool looking.
Nice.
And I think it's 5%. Yeah, 5% exactly. And I'm really excited there because chocolate and s'more ale, like that's kind of hard to do. So I'm curious to see how they actually went about doing this. It's very dark
Oh yeah,
for
it's
an ale.
definitely dark. For an ale, I thought it'd be a little bit more, like light brown.
It looks darker on camera for sure.
Okay.
But, I can still see through it, but it is dark. It's a lot of chocolate, more chocolate than I expected. And it's pretty good. At first when I was drinking it, I was like, it's not that good. And then it has a really nice marshmallow finish.
Yeah.
I know that probably doesn't sound very appealing, but just trust me on this one.
Of course, it sounds great.
It's really good. Yeah, this chocolate and marshmallow ale sounds really hard to do, but they really nailed this one out of the park. So for the Shiner s'more chocolate marshmallow ale, it's gonna get a 7.7 from me.
Good deal. All right. I'm excited for this one. I have a vanilla porter from Breckenridge Brewery, which is in Colorado. Roasted malts with notes of vanilla. Comes in at a 5.4% ABV. That's why I love porters, because they're not too heavy. And you can have a couple of them, 2, 3, maybe even 4 if you're feeling lucky, and you'll be fine. You won't feel too stuffed. You'll be good to go. So this one is dark. Oh, that's good. You really get that vanilla flavor there. From top end down. That's really good. You can really taste the vanilla, which is a good thing for this bad boy. Again, you got it's a porter, so it's not too heavy. This is going to be a 7.82 for me. 7.82. Just I had to beat your 7.8, so 7.82. It's good
very
though.
Specific, but
I would really recommend this one.
That
This
sounds really good. I'm actually walking through Wineworks, trying to pick some beers before. I saw that one multiple times, and I was like, it looks really good, but not this time, next time. And every time I just said next time.
You got to get it.
And now I'm really jealous of you, and I will definitely end up getting that next time.
For sure.
Next time for real. My last beer is probably one of my ones that I'm super stoked for. It's called Blackbeard's Breakfast, and this one is right up your alley, except for it being 10%, which I'm excited to have before dinner, so that if I drank it with dinner or after dinner, I'd probably throw up. But
yeah.
Thinking on, my stomach is pretty empty right now, so I'll save some room for dinner. I might not have the whole thing, but it's definitely gonna sit in my stomach for quite some time. It's a porter brewed with coffee and aged in bourbon barrels. So maybe not sitting too heavy because it is a porter, but it's 10%.
That is right up my alley. I'll tell you that much. That sounds delicious.
Yeah, I've been to this liquor store that I got it at many times, and they're always getting new different stuff in. And then I saw this for the first time, and they actually serve it in single serve cans at this one. They don't usually do that. And it was $4 for the one bottle. But I was like, it looks so good. I have to try it.
Do it, yeah.
So we'll see if it's worth it. It's
dark, huh?
But sometimes this is the best beers.
The head on that looks
Oh, you would love this one.
Mm.
Yeah, that one's it's strong. Like it's bold and definitely bitter. But it's not like bitter like punching you in the face. Like it's pleasant. That sounds terrible, but it's pretty well done. It's the Heavy Seas Brewery, the Uncharted Water series, and yeah, this is pretty good. I'm surprised actually because 10%. I was expecting like a rash taste where
Yeah,
I couldn't even finish the glass.
yeah, you
And,
really taste that bourbon kind of.
yeah, it's really well done. The bourbon is mixed in so well that you don't smell it or taste it too much, so it's not like repulsive, and you really want to go back for more.
It's some of those bourbon barrel beers. That's kind of what happens. That you get too much of the bourbon because it's a beer. Like I like bourbon flavor, but I also like to taste the beer. Some of those you just taste bourbon, and it's 10%, so you get really.
This one's really good, I have to say. This one, see the bottle right there,
There
Blackbeard
you go.
Specialist, is going to get an 8.6 from me. Again,
8.6.
I
Wow.
know it's 10%, but it's really well done. It doesn't taste like 10% does, and I've kind of fallen in love with this beer.
Trivia for you. Where did Blackbeard's ship sink?
Bermuda Triangle?
North Carolina,
I had no idea.
off the coast. I think so, actually. I don't know. I don't know if that's factual, but I'm pretty sure it's true. I'm pretty sure.
Facts for you this week on the podcast, or maybe not.
Maybe not.
But Blackbeard crashed his ship off the north coast of North Carolina. You'll actually probably have to go there to find out because we cannot fact check that for you.
I can Siri this really quick. Let me do this. Where did Blackbeard's ship sink? Blackbeard. Here we go. Yep. Nope. It doesn't even say. So yeah, fact check for me. If anybody can figure that out, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Pretty sure I'm correct though. On to my next bad boy here. Very excited. I think this is from you.
Yeah.
Right. So we have Expressway, 2 roads. Says the road less traveled. Cool. It's a coffee. It's a cold brew coffee stout. Coffee steeped in oatmeal. Ooh, coffee steeped in oatmeal stout.
Wow.
That's really great. Oh my gosh, I'm very excited for this.
I have good taste. Wow.
Yeah, you do. So it's out of Stratford, Connecticut. 2 Roads Brewing Company. There you go. And I'm just looking for the
The percentage.
ABV here. Not seeing it, but I have a good feeling it's going to be 6.5. So that's not bad. Another one that's not too bad for stout, coffee stout. I thought it was going to be like 11 or something. I'd be going to sleep now. It's so light. That tastes. It's like a porter almost, but it's
Wow.
coffee. All right, this is my favorite one. All right,
Wow.
this is so good. It's light like a porter. Like, stouts are usually thick and heavy, which is why I like porters better. But this is light. You could have a couple of these, no problem. 6.5%. Again, you could have a couple of them. You won't be off your rocker. This is delicious.
That's surprising, and that's good to hear because I've been looking at that one. When I chose it for you, I was like, I might get to. Nah, I'll get it next time. So I'll definitely have to go back for that one because I'm very jealous of you.
No, this one's great. I mean, again, 6.5%, so you could have a couple of them. It's light. You really taste the espresso in this. Espressway makes you seem, it tastes like espresso. And when it says espressway on it, you would think that it has espresso in it. But it just says cold brew coffee stout. So I don't know if it has espresso in it and it's a cold brew, but either way, it's delicious. You really do get a coffee-like flavor, which for me is perfect. This is going to be.
Well, I'm very jealous. I'm definitely going to have to give that one a shot.
7.89.
Okay, wow, that's
Good.
awesome.
It's
And
good. It's great. I mean, it's very tasteful. Perfect for a coffee lover. Perfect for somebody that doesn't like the thick, heavy beers.
mhm.
I think, the vanilla porter and this espresso are two beers that are perfect for your dark beer lover when you're out tailgating, you're out on a hot day. Because usually it's hard to drink a dark beer when you're out in the sun all day.
Mhm.
These guys are perfect. You go out, again, they're light enough. You won't be dying and like just completely full on beer and feel like you can't move or you want to take a nap. These are perfect. You'll be able to keep going. 6.5%, and then the other one was about 5.4%. So these are both great beers.
Good, good. Um, so I also wanted to remind people that we got these beers at our local liquor stores. There's a shop near us called Wineworks that serves single serve beers. I got my beers at the Kings Grant Liquor Shop right in my neighborhood. But if you don't live near us in New Jersey, you can try your local liquor store. And if you don't see them, I would check out the brewery's website, and there's a good chance that they'll ship their beer to you if you really believe in our ratings that much. Because I believe in the ratings, and I love the beers that we rated today, and I definitely recommend all the beers that we drank today.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And
One
also,
thing
if
that you
you'd
want
like
to ask
to,
for
yeah, go ahead.
when you go to your local store, your local liquor store, just ask them where the single serve section is. It'll make your life a lot easier because some of them are kind of confusing and hard to find. Just ask them single serve section. They'll point you in the right direction.
Right. And I also want to remind people that we do have a website that is up and running now, and we will be putting the beers, our top favorite beers that we drink every week. Some of our highest rated beers will go up on the website with a description and the rating and the name of the beer and the brewery it's from and everything. So you can go check out our website under craft brews and then just see what we're drinking this week.
Good point. Good point. I also want to bring up because of the movement, we wanted to talk about the Black Lives Matter movement. We wanted to make sure that, we just put it out there. We talked to people about it, talked to each other about it. Because of that, we pushed the Vault Series back another week. We are going to do the Eagles Patriots, try to do that next week. But just with everything that's going on in the world, we thought it may be a little bit more important to address that situation. And we can move on to the Vault Series, the following week.
For sure. That's a good announcement. So that'll wrap it up for this week's episode. Thank you all so much for listening. Be sure to check out the Over Unders website for the latest blogs and what we're drinking this week. Go give it a visit and tell us what you think. You can leave a comment. You can reach out to us, and we'd love to hear from you. If you also want to give us a follow on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, we are on all those things, and we'd love to get some feedback from you.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you, and we'll see you next week.